Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Diane Mitchke, and I will be hosting our online orientation this morning. There are about 50 or so of us on the call right now. What I'd like you to do at this point is please make sure your microphone is muted. You can mute your microphone by going to the bottom left-hand corner of your screen and clicking on the microphone button where it says mute. I'd also like for you to make sure that you do not have your video going during the call. If you cannot hear me, you can get into the audio version of the call by going back to the invitation and calling the number. So let me type that out on the chat for the student that is having trouble hearing. Okay. Hopefully most of you are able to hear my voice through your computer screen. What I'd like to do is, for the duration of the call, if you will hold your questions until the end, there will be an opportunity at the end of the call for you to ask any questions that you have, as well as, and the way that you'll do that is by using the chat feature. So I see that a few of you have already figured out how to use the chat feature. What I would like for you to do at this point is for you to type just a quick message in the chat box. So just a hello or whatever to make sure that, so that I can see that you know how to use it and that you're hearing me. Excellent. Okay, perfect. So we are going to go ahead and get started. We have almost 60 people on the call right now. We will be recording this conference, so if you have to step away at some point, know that you will be able to access the recording. I will be posting it on YouTube so that you'll be able to watch it there. And basically what my goal is for this morning is to basically give everyone an idea of what you can expect from the program. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint presentation and introduce you to the different resources that we have available to you, and just kind of get you ready for the fall semester. I will also be talking about our field placement experience, and like I said, at the end of the call, you'll have the opportunity to ask any questions you have and get them answered while we're here. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and launch into the presentation. So let me share my presentation with you here. All right. So now on your screen, you should be seeing a PowerPoint presentation that says MSW Online Cohort Orientation, Direct Practice with Children and Families. So first, let's make sure that you are in the right place. You are supposed to be a traditional student, and what I mean by that is that you're coming in with a degree, in your undergraduate degree is something other than social work, or you got your BSW degree more than 6 years ago. And so either way, you will be entering our program as a traditional student. You've selected our online-only cohort program. And on the call today, we have students who have decided to do our full-time program, which is our 2-year program. Those students will graduate in August of 2021, so 2 years from now. We also have students on the line today who are in our part-time program, which is our 3-year program. And you folks will be graduating in August of 2022. So if that sounds right to you and that sounds familiar, then great, stay on the line with me. And we will be talking about what you can expect from our program. If you are confused or think, you know, that's not what I didn't want to be children and families, or I thought I chose the face-to-face cohort, then you can get off the call right now and you can email me, and then I will hook you up with the correct orientation you need to be in. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that we're all on the same page here. So what I have in front of you now is a degree plan. This should look familiar to you if you have decided to do our full-time degree program. This is a 26-month, really a 24-month program, a 2-year program where you go fall, spring, and summer for 2 years. You're going to start with us this fall in 3 courses. That is 9 credit hours. And most semesters you will take 9 hours. The exception to that is when you start your field placement and you have additional hours required by your field placement. This is the 3-year program. This is what we think of as our part-time program, and basically students in this cohort will take usually 6 credit hours or 2 courses a semester, which we consider to be part-time. Regardless of which program you're in, the 2-year or the 3-year program, you're taking essentially the same curriculum. Because there are more students on this call that are in our 2-year program, I'm going to go back to that degree plan to talk a little bit about the classes that you can expect to take. You'll start your MSW program with what we call our foundation curriculum. And so the courses that you see in the first 3 semesters of the program are what we call our foundation courses. These are going to give you a generalist social work background so that you'll be prepared to practice social work at the generalist level. So there won't be a particular focus in an area like children and families, but instead you'll get an idea of what social work is across various different kinds of practice areas. So your first classes in the curriculum start out with human behavior and the social environment, which is basically a course that combines lifespan development with theories about human behavior. So you'll learn about theories related to why people act the way that they do, and what kinds of systems surround individuals, and where we as social workers can intervene at various levels to impact an individual client or a group client's experience and empower them to kind of reach their full potential, essentially. You'll also take a Foundations of Policy course where you'll learn about the history of social welfare policy, and you'll learn about policy implications of the policies related to mental health and school social work policies and things like that. You'll learn how to advocate for your clients based on the generalist policy background that you gain in that class. And then in your micro and macro classes, your generalist micro and your generalist macro classes, you're going to learn about kind of the basics of social work practice. So you'll learn about engagement with clients, intervention, assessment at the micro practice level, which means working with individual clients, as well as the macro practice level, which is more working with groups and organizations and communities. Then you'll also be taking a diverse populations class, and this is what we consider our social justice class. So in that class, you'll be talking a lot about different isms that, like sexism, ableism, ageism, racism, and ways that we as social workers can intervene to really empower populations and promote social justice. You'll take a beginning research class, which will give you the foundation of how to write a research proposal. And then you'll finish up your foundation curriculum with a field placement, which you can see outlined there. After that, you'll launch into your specialty coursework or your advanced coursework, which you can see begins for full-time students in the summer of 2020 and then goes through the remainder of your time in the program. In this advanced coursework, you're going to get really specialized expertise that you develop in working with children and families in a variety of different kinds of settings. So really a nice opportunity for you to develop real specialized skills for working in a variety of different practice areas. The focus will be in many different kinds of areas related to areas that impact children and families. So you'll focus on things like school social work, you'll focus on foster care and adoption. There will be curriculum related to homelessness, curriculum related to intimate partner violence, kind of a whole host of different areas that impact children and families, and how we as social workers can intervene through strategic kinds of research-based methods to really help children and families thrive. So that's kind of what your curriculum looks like. Hopefully you've already received this degree plan or the part-time degree plan, and this looks very familiar to you. If it doesn't, please reach out to me or your academic advisor so that we can get you registered and enrolled for the fall semester in your courses. I know that you are online students, but I also know that some of you live here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and others of you at some point during your time here at UTA may have the opportunity to come visit us. And I would encourage you to come see us in real life. This is a picture of what our building looks like. We're on the Arlington campus of the University of Texas at Arlington. We're on the far north end of campus in a historic building in the old Arlington High School complex. So I would love to meet you in person and have you come visit. We are led here on our campus by Dean Scott Ryan and Associate Dean Dr. Deborah Woody. And as I introduced myself at the beginning, I am Dr. Diane Mitchke. I'm the Director of Graduate Programs and the MSW program. I would encourage you to get connected with the school. We are very active in social media across a number of platforms. You can direct link to those platforms from our School of Social Work web page if you scroll down to the bottom of the screen. on the webpage, you can direct link to our profiles across all of these different platforms, and you can connect with us. And I would encourage you to do that. We post a lot about the research that's happening with faculty here in the school. We also post about events and opportunities for students to get involved, scholarship opportunities, important deadlines, things like that. So it's a good way to kind of just keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening at the school. I think you've made a really good choice in selecting UTA to pursue your graduate education. We are proud that we are one of the most affordable MSW programs in the country. We also are ranked consistently very highly among veterans and the services that we offer to veterans here on campus. So if you're a veteran, we're glad that you've chosen UTA. There are many among you that have also made that same choice, and there are lots of support services in place for student veterans. One of the things that I like to point out to all of our online students is that we're really proud of this final bullet point, that we are ranked actually number 3 among MSW programs across the country by graduateprograms.com. And this ranking is actually specific to our online programs. So we're really happy that other students that have come before you have thought highly of our online program, and we're excited about the opportunity that it offers you, whatever your life circumstance is at the time, to be able to participate fully in a graduate program that is of very high caliber. So welcome. And finally, welcome to graduate school. We're really thrilled that you've decided to pursue your education with us. Graduate school is such a unique opportunity to be able to dive into your passion. And I think it really is so different than your undergraduate education, in the sense that you are going to be able to take classes that pique your interest, classes that you are really interested in developing a lot of expertise, in the particular area. And one of the great things about our program specifically is that because we're one of the largest schools of social work in the country, we are able to offer a number of different specialized classes for our students. So by choosing to pursue your degree here and specializing in children and families, you are getting to take some classes that aren't available at other universities. And that's because of the unique skills that our faculty have to offer, and simply the size of our program allows us to offer that so much variety. So I think you're really going to be pleased with the quality of the courses that you take and the types of courses that you're able to take to prepare you to launch your career as master's level social workers. We have a number of student support services in place, both here in the School of Social Work as well as in the larger university, to support you along your journey. I know that graduate school can be tough sometimes, and especially when life gets in the way, which it often does. And so we have a number of people and resources available to help you. Our Office of Advising and Student Success is led by Patrice Green, and she can help you if you find that you're struggling and need additional support. You can reach out to Patrice Green and request that support. She can refer you to different resources on campus for that extra support that you may need as you're making your way through your courses. The main goal of our advising office is to help you reach your graduation goal. We want every single one of you that is listening to this presentation right now to graduate, and we want you to do that in a way that you're really developing into an expert MSW level social worker. And so that's our ultimate goal for you. I can't wait to see you walk across that stage at College Park Center and to shake your hand and congratulate you on achieving your goal of attaining an MSW. This office provides not only academic advising, but also career counseling services. All of our advisors have MSWs and they have experience in the field. So if you have questions about, what exactly you want to do post-graduation, I would encourage you to reach out to our advisor and to talk with them about your ideas and help them work with you to develop a career path that makes the most sense for you. Our academic advisors are broken down by student last names, so hopefully you've already connected with your advisor. If you have not, please reach out to your advisor so that you can make sure you're enrolled in the right classes for the term. You should have gotten an email from them with the classes you should enroll in, but if you have questions about that, please reach out to them again. As I mentioned, there are also a number of university-wide resources for social work students. From the UTA homepage, you can use that search bar in the top right-hand corner to basically find whatever it is you need from the university website. So information about deadlines, the academic calendar, when the semester will begin and end next spring, for example. You can access all of that information now from the web page. So it's a really good one-stop shop for you. It also is your access point for MyMav, your student email, Canvas, which is what you'll use to access your courses. So just a really good one-stop shop there. The School of Social Work webpage should also hopefully already be familiar to you as well. This is where you can find information that's specific to our school, including information about our faculty, as well as information about field, resources and forms you may need, as well as updates on scholarship information and the MSW program manual. We have a career development center within our School of Social Work homepage that provides tips specifically for social work students and developing your resumes. We also have links to external job postings. So we post those pretty much weekly whenever we find out about opportunities that are available. These are sometimes opportunities that you can participate in before you graduate, so ways for you to gain social work experience while you're still a student. And many of these opportunities are available to do online, so that you don't actually need to go in person anywhere. But we post opportunities from across the state of Texas, so don't feel like if you don't live in the Metroplex, it's not a good place to look. It can be. Our Student Affairs Office through the university also has a number of resources that can be useful to you. For example, one of the ones I'd like to point out is the Office for Students with Disabilities. If you have ever been diagnosed with a learning disability or have needed accommodations for a disability, I would encourage you to go ahead and reach out to that office and get registered with them. That way, you can have those accommodations available to you in your back pocket. You may never need to use them, but if you do, they're there for you, and you don't have to worry about, scrambling in the middle of the semester to get the help that you need. So I would encourage you to go ahead and do that if that applies to you. Other resources include the UTA bookstore, as well as the Office of Information Technology. This is where you can get information about how to get your email forwarded to your cell phone. I would really encourage you to do that if you haven't already. It's really important that you are able to check your email regularly, and one of the best ways to do that is by downloading it to your phone. There's also a lot of free software and discounted software available through the OIT. So if you don't have, for example, the Microsoft Office package, I would encourage you to reach out and purchase that from the university. It's really cheap for students, and it's something that you'll need to write your papers and things like that. This is a screenshot of the UTA bookstore's website. So essentially, you can go to the bookstore website, click on books, and you'll get a screen that looks similar to this here. You can enter your student ID number here, which is that 1000 number that you were given when you were admitted, and choose the term, and then you'll be able to actually generate a list of all of the required textbooks for your various classes. You can purchase your textbooks or rent them directly from the UTA bookstore's website, or of course you can just take the ISBN number of the textbooks that is generated and then plug them into, Amazon or whatever textbook company you'd like to order them from, and find them that way. So it's kind of up to you, whatever works best for you. But I would encourage you to go ahead and get your textbooks so that you can be ready to start the semester and you don't have to worry about waiting on your textbooks to arrive. Canvas is going to be the system that we use to manage our courses. We used to, at UTA, have Blackboard, and we are now, as a university, transitioning completely to Canvas. Canvas will be the place where you access your course materials and basically complete all of your coursework. So if you're not yet familiar with Canvas, which I'm sure many of you are not, many of our faculty are also still learning how to use Canvas, there are a number of resources that are available to you to help you get started in learning how to use Canvas. So what I want to do now is share with you that. Let's see. This is the website for Canvas training. You can get to this simply by clicking on the main UTA homepage, and then in that search bar in the top right-hand corner, just typing the word Canvas, you'll get to this page, which is training for students. You can see that there are lots of different hyperlinks here that link to video tutorials about how to do different kinds of things in Canvas, everything from logging in to understanding how to access the different components of your course. So I would encourage you to spend some time this week before courses start familiarizing yourself with Canvas. I think that you will find it is quite intuitive and easy to use. The students that I had this summer semester, I taught our course in Canvas for the first time and did not get any complaints. So most students found it very easy to use and easy to navigate. One thing I would like to point out is that Canvas does have a really fantastic app that you can download to your smartphone. It's the Canvas Student mobile app. And it is really a neat way to participate in your classes from your phone. You can participate in discussion posts. You can upload assignments. You can read your materials, download materials, that sort of thing, all from your phone. So please make sure you do that. I don't know if you have used Blackboard in the past, but Blackboard also had a student application for your phone, and it was terrible. It didn't work very well. You couldn't do much with it. Canvas is totally different, very user-friendly. I think that you'll really appreciate being able to have that on your phone. Let's see, I wanted to share with you just a couple of other things regarding regarding Canvas. I did want to share with you an example course to kind of show you what your course might look like. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you to make sure that you can see that. Bear with me for 1 second here. All right, so now what you should see is an example of a course on Canvas. This is typically what your course might look like. I mean, with some variation. You'll see a banner in the middle of the screen. This is typically your home page, and you can see information about your instructor, information about the syllabus. Canvas uses modules to organize its content. So if you click on modules, what you will find is generally an overview of the course, then followed by modules, which are broken down by topic area. Depending on your course, usually the module represents a week-long study. So for example, module 1 in this example course would correspond with the first week of the semester. You can see there are various different elements of the module. This first part of the module gives an overview of what we will be covering in that particular module. There's a video that will load that is actually a video, because this is my example, a video where I'm talking about the different things that we will be covering in that module, kind of just giving you a heads up on what to look for that particular week, as well as any information about things that are due during that particular week's module. So you can navigate within the course by clicking on the next or previous buttons. You can see that there are readings that are associated with this particular module, and PowerPoint slides for that particular chapter's reading. There are also a video lecture, as well as some links to a podcast, as well as a video, a TED Talk video. So you can see there's a variety of different kinds of content that may be available depending on the module you're covering. There's always a link to a discussion board post. So this is how you would participate in the discussion. And then finally, there is a wrap-up. So what did we cover this week? What should you be looking for next week? This is, again, a video of me kind of wrapping up that particular week's content. So hopefully that kind of clears things up in terms of what a Canvas course looks like. Obviously, every course will be a little bit different, but essentially that's what you're looking for in terms of the kinds of content that you should see within your Canvas course. All right, so moving on, I want to share with you one last resource in terms of Canvas, and that is the Student Success and Advising course. The Student Success and Advising course is a resource that is available to you through Canvas. We've added all of you to this course, so when you log into Canvas, you should have access to this course already. It's not a course where you have to turn in assignments or anything. It's just a course that we've loaded a lot of resources into. So you'll see there's links to advising resources here. There are also links to information about the library. There's a video tutorial that our librarian, Brooke Troutman, gives us, kind of an overview of how to access various resources in the library. There's also a number of resources related to writing. So there are presentations, recorded presentations about various different writing assignments that you will encounter through the program. And so I would just encourage you to kind of visit this site often. This is going to be updated with additional resources as we move along, and I think that you'll find it to be quite useful to you. Also connections, of course, to all of our student organizations. So just a good place to go to get additional information. All right, so now that we've covered that piece, I want to go back and share with you. We're back on our PowerPoint presentation now, and as I've mentioned, you need to be able to check your email regularly. We've automatically enrolled you in the MSW listserv, so you should get information pushed to you from our advising office, from me, about, important things that are coming up. So it's just important that you look forward to checking your email regularly. That's how we communicate with you. Finally, I want to talk a bit about field education. So field education is kind of what we consider to be a really essential part of the social work education experience, because it allows you to get hands-on social work experience out in the field while you're a student. You have 2 designated field advisors while you're in the program. Your first one will be your foundation field advisor, who is Natalie Mangum. So she will help you as you are beginning to dive into your first field placement and get ready for that. Once you've finished your foundation placement, your first placement, then you'll move into your advanced children and families placement. And when you're in that process, Monica Brown will assist you as the field advisor there. We also have Andron Williams, who is the administrative assistant in our field office. She can answer general questions about the field placement process, and her general email address is sswfield@uta.edu. And the office is led by Dr. Donetta Smith, who is our Assistant Dean of Field Education. Your field experience will be guided by these core competencies, which were developed by the Council on Social Work Education. And basically, these are the competencies that our accreditation body says that every MSW prepared social worker should have expertise across these different areas. So throughout your coursework and in your field placements, we're going to be making sure that you're engaging in activities that demonstrate your ability to develop competence across these 9 areas, 9 aspects of social work practice. When you're thinking about the field placement process, it's important to begin thinking early about how you're going to make field work with your schedule and how you're going to make it work despite all of the other demands on your time. I know that many of you are working full-time and part-time, and squeezing in a field placement is going to be a challenge. It's important to start thinking about that now and having conversations with your family, your other people in your support network, as well as, if you're working, your employer, to talk about different ways to make a field placement work for you. So can you flex your time? Can you start banking your vacation time now to allow yourself the flexibility to do a field placement? You should know that it is difficult to find a field placement that is solely available on nights and on weekends. And so you need to think about what the impact of having a field placement will be on your current situation. Once again, I'm belaboring this because it's so vitally important. You need to check your email often. This is the way the field office will communicate with you and will inform you about when the application for field window is open. In order to enter a field placement, you have to have a 3.0 or better GPA. That is the minimum GPA to remain in good standing in the MSW program. So as a graduate student, you must maintain a B average. You have to have that 3.0 to be able to enter a field placement. Your prerequisites for your foundation placement will be the completion of 5301, 5304, and 5306. Those are the first 3 foundation courses. And so once you finish those, you'll be eligible to start your foundation field placement. Your your degree plan is set up to make sure that you are ready to enter field with your cohort. So you don't really have to worry about, oh my gosh, am I ready? As long as you are on track with your cohort, you will be ready when the rest of your cohort starts the placement. Also, you will be ready to start your advanced placement when you've finished all of your foundation coursework and you have finished your advanced micro practice class and your direct practice with children and families class. Those are the 2 classes that will prepare you to enter your advanced placement, your advanced field placement. So you can do your field placement in 2 different ways. Though I will tell you that the most common way to do it is called a split placement. And basically what this means is that you split your placement across 2 consecutive semesters. So you are completing a minimum of 480 hours across 2 semesters. That means 240 hours in one semester and 240 hours in the next semester. Basically, this comes out to about 16 hours a week in your field placement. If you choose to do a block placement, you would enroll in all 480 hours in one semester. This is not the most common way to do a field placement simply because it is a very large demand on your time. If you choose to do a block placement, that means you're giving about 32 hours a week in your placement. And that's a whole lot to manage if you have anything else going on, like a job or like a family or really any other responsibilities. Because a block placement is going to require that you devote most of your available time to being at your placement. By applying for field placement, you are already covered by the university's professional liability insurance. That means that you can be assured that when you are in your field placement, if something were to go wrong and you were sued by a client, for example, you would be covered by professional liability insurance. So you do not need to purchase your own liability insurance when you go into your placement opportunity. In terms of establishing your match, if you live here in the DFW Metroplex, the process for you looks a little bit different than the process for students who live outside of the Metroplex. So I'll talk about both. If you live inside the Metroplex, essentially the Office of Field Education and your advisor will review your application and will essentially match you with an agency who has requested a student. They try to do a good job of matching you geographically. For example, if you live in Plano, they will hopefully not give you a placement in Cleburne, but in general, they will work with you to find a placement that matches your needs. If you live outside of the general DFW Metroplex, you're going to have more responsibility for finding your own placement. There are a number of placements that have been established with agencies across the state of Texas, and your field advisor can help you identify existing placement opportunities that already have affiliation agreements with us. So for example, if you live in Houston, we have a number of facilities that have established placements with us, and so your advisor can help you reach out to them. If you would like to find your own placement, you may also seek out a placement on your own in your community, and I would encourage you to do that. If there's an agency that interests you, that's a great way to establish your own field placement. One of the things to keep in mind is that you do need to make sure that the agency has a social worker on site that is an MSW level social worker with at least 2 years experience. I know I sometimes get questions from students who are interested in finding out if they can do their placement, their field internship at their place of employment. So in some cases, that is a possibility. There are some restrictions about what that might look like. For example, you would need to complete your hours for your field placement and keep them totally separate from the hours for your employment. So you can't double dip into your employment hours for your placement hours. You also would need to be in a different department or area of the agency and have a different supervisor than your employment supervisor in order to do a placement at your place of employment. And there are some forms that are available on the website that kind of explain that process, and there's a contract form that you fill out if that's something that you want to pursue. Also on the website is important dates, documents and forms. There's a recording of a field orientation session. We will be offering several field orientations each semester where you'll get more detailed information about the field experience. And these will be live streamed and also recorded so that you can access them at your convenience. And we'll send information about that to your UTA email address. I wanted to just make sure that you understood the licensing process, as I know some of you may have questions about that. When you graduate from our program, you will have the MSW degree. It will make you eligible for licensure at the MSW level. About 2/3 of employers require a social work license. And the LMSW is the entry-level license for master's level social workers. You can take the LMSW exam during your final semester of enrollment in the MSW program. You will apply to take the exam, and then once you pass the exam, after you graduate, you will be given your license. Some of you may choose to go on and pursue a licensed clinical social worker, and that licensure is available after you become licensed as an LMSW. The LCSW requires 3,000 hours of supervised clinical social work experience. So after you get your LMSW, when you're looking for job opportunities, you would look for specifically clinical social work jobs that would qualify as preparatory jobs for the LCSW. You would go through a supervision process, and then once you accumulate those 3,000 hours, you would be eligible then to sit for the LCSW exam. And if you decide to go that route, that would make you eligible to practice independently. And what I mean by that is you can you start your own independent therapy practice. You could bill insurance, for example, charge for your services. I would say most social workers do not need the LCSW license. They work in an agency where they are not diagnosing mental health conditions and are not required as an individual to bill insurance. The agency itself may bill insurance, but the individual social worker doesn't. So it kind of just depends on where your career takes you and whether or not the LCSW is something that you want to pursue in the future. There are a number of research opportunities to participate in as an MSW student. We have paid positions as well as volunteer positions. These are called graduate research assistantships, and in these you would work with a faculty member who has federal funding to pursue research in a variety of different topic areas. You would work for them about 10 hours a week, sometimes 20 hours a week, depending on the position. And many of these positions involve, doing online research, doing data entry, creating evaluations and things like that. So really neat opportunities to get your hands dirty in the research process and to gain some expertise by partnering with a faculty member. You also have the opportunity to complete a thesis as an MSW student. This would be an opportunity for you to engage in your own research under the direction of a faculty member or faculty chair. As a thesis student, you would, instead of taking the final course on your degree plan, which is called integrative seminar, you would instead take a thesis course where you would work with a faculty member. And thesis is actually 2 semesters, so it would replace one of your other electives in the program. So you would take 6 hours of thesis total. But many students who decide to do the thesis really enjoy the process of working with a faculty member and being able to develop some specialized expertise in an area that they have a special interest or passion for. Let's see. I want to make sure that I always have this slide on here, and I know that many of you may think, why are we talking about professional? Obviously, we're graduate students. We can all understand what it means to act like professionals. And what I would say to that is that I want you to recognize that in the Master of Social Work program, we do cover a lot of topics that can sometimes be very controversial. They can bring up a lot of emotional issues for students. Sometimes you may be in a class discussion board where there are other students that have vehemently different views than you do. And so I would just encourage you, regardless of how you are feeling at the time, whether you're feeling frustrated or angry or you're, whatever your emotions may be, that you keep those in check and that you remember to make sure that you behave in a professional way and that you communicate in a respectful way with your peers, with your instructors, and with the staff here at the school. One of the challenges I think sometimes for online students is getting connected and feeling a part of the School of Social Work and the UTA Maverick community. And so I wanted to share with you just a couple of ways that I think you can get involved and really to enhance your experience as a graduate student. First, I would encourage you to join one of our many student organizations. We have a whole lot of opportunities for you to get involved with other students who share your interests. Every single one of these organizations live streams their meetings. They have online service opportunities. They have guest speakers that they live stream. So please do not assume that because you are not here on campus that you cannot participate fully. our program has about 1,400 MSW students, and half of those are online. So we have a good number of our student leaders across these organizations that are online students like yourselves. And so please don't let your online status limit you in any way in terms of feeling connected to the campus community. We're starting a new program this year. It's called the Graduate Student Leader Program, or GSL. You're going to be hearing a lot more about it as you start your fall semester. Right now, I'm in the process of developing an application for the Graduate Student Leader Program. I'm looking for a student leader for every cohort. So I'll be looking for one from your full-time cohort, those of you who represent the full-time program here, as well as our part-time cohort. Be looking for that if that's something that you might be interested in. I'll be sending more information about it. It's going to be an opportunity for you as a student to really have an advocate, peer advocate in your cohort. So our GSLs will really be kind of your go-to person in terms of communication. They will be hosting virtual listening sessions with students every other week, where they will be available to hear your concerns. They will be able to share information with you about things to look forward to in the program, and they will actively kind of serve as an ambassador within the MSW program. There are some perks to being a GSL. They'll get special honor cords that they can wear at commencement. They'll get a free t-shirt every semester, and they will gain leadership experience, most importantly, I think. So like I said, I'm currently developing the application. I should have it ready to send out probably early next week. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please consider applying. I think it's going to be a really neat program. And if it's not something that you want to take a leadership role in, do know that you will have a GSL for your cohort that will be your point person in terms of getting accurate information and reaching out should you have issues. We also have another system in place that we're going to launch this semester. It's called Microsoft Teams. It's going to be another way that you can connect with other students in your cohort. Assuming that all of the students that are in your cohort care deeply about direct practice with children and families, you all share some interests related to events happening, speaker events, information about research that's going on. And so Microsoft Teams is going to be a way for us to share that information that applies specifically to your interests. It will also provide you with a platform for reaching out to the other students that are in your cohort that are starting this fall. So if you have questions or you just want to get connected, Microsoft Teams will be an opportunity to do that. And again, I'll be sending information out probably in the MSW newsletter about how to get connected with Teams. So finally, I would encourage you to engage in some of these online group sessions that I was talking about. We'll be sending out a weekly newsletter that will contain information to get you engaged in some of the things that are happening in the program. It will also include important dates and things like that so that you don't miss any deadlines. And then I would encourage you to really reach out to others in your cohort and connect in real life. I know that many of you are spread out across the state of Texas, but there are certainly pockets of groups of students that are in different locations. And so I think using some of the tools that we'll have available to you, the Teams feature as well as the GSL meetings, you'll be able to potentially connect with other folks who are also in your cohort and maybe meet up for, a happy hour or coffee or something like that in your local community, which I think is really important. Finally, this is my contact information. You've all heard from me extensively here in this orientation. You'll be receiving additional emails from me. You've also been in communication with the MSW program assistant. Her name is Ginger Jackson. She's the one that sent you your information about the welcome letter, as well as information about participating in this cohort. And now it's time for me to stop talking and take your questions and answers. So what I would ask for you to do is to type your questions into the chat box here on your screen, and I will get to each one of them and answer them as I have time. So, not as I have time, while we have time here in this meeting. So if you have a question, post it here. We will cover all of them. And then if you think of something else after the session, you're welcome to email me and I will answer your question that way as well. So let's get started. Let's see, Deosha says, hello, I have a question that's specifically for those that currently work in a social work field. Could I speak with you directly following this? Is it better to post my question here? You're welcome to post your question here. It may apply to other students, so go ahead and post it and I'll see if I can answer it. Let's see. If we already work in the social work field, could we use our job as our field placement? I think that I answered that while I was talking. If not, please let me know and I'll try to answer it in a different way. Okay, let's see. Are there research opportunities usually available and easily accessible to those of us pursuing our degrees online? Yes, so all of you on this call are pursuing your degree online. And we do have, so thesis is available to every one of you. You can decide to do a thesis and you can do that as an online student. You'll partner with a faculty member. You can meet with them online. There are no required face-to-face meetings. Please know that if you're an online student, you never have to set foot on this campus if you don't want to. The GRA opportunities, the graduate research assistantship opportunities can also be available to online students. So be on the lookout for those. Yes, some of them are available to online students. Others require you to be, at a particular location. But for the most part, yes, we have opportunities across both types of programs. Bianca's trying to reach out to those of you in the Austin area, so that's good. Okay, so I'm not going to facilitate that piece right now, but certainly I promise you that we will set up this Teams feature within the next week, and you will be able to connect that way and reach out to people geographically that are in your area. So I'm excited that y'all are looking forward to doing that. Let's see. Olivia says, when will our courses be available on Canvas? I would like to view the syllabi before classes start. Unfortunately, most of your classes will not be available until the first day. Think of it kind of like a face-to-face class in which you would not receive your syllabus until you showed up to class on the first class session. That's how the online class environment works as well. So look for your classes to show up on Canvas on the first day of class, which would be the 21st, and you should see your courses there. All right, let's see. What is the difference between basic and advanced field? So your first field placement is your foundation field placement. And that placement is going to give you generalist social work knowledge. And so that one is focused both on micro social work practice and on macro social work practice. So it will not be specific to your specialty area. It may not be working with children, even though you are children and families and you say, you know what, I really want to be a school social worker and that's where I see my career going. At your first placement, your foundation field placement, you won't be able to select your area of practice. So you may, even though you want to be a school social worker, you may end up in a family violence shelter, for example. It's not specific to your area. When you get to the advanced level and you have your field placement at the advanced level, then it will correlate specifically with your area of practice. And so because you're children and families, it will need to focus specifically on children and families. And we really try hard to make sure, regardless of, whether we're matching you, the field office is matching you, or you're looking for your own placement, that it's a placement that really piques your interest in terms of where you see your career going. Let's see. Let's see. You mentioned paid research positions. Are these available for thesis track students only? No, graduate research assistant positions are available to any student, regardless of whether you decide to do a thesis or not. There will be job postings for those online when they are available. They'll also go out to the entire MSW listserv and be listed in the MSW newsletter. So be looking for those. There are definitely positions that are available for MSW students. So you'll just have to look and see if you meet those qualifications. Sometimes they need you to, have a certain skill set. So it'll just be a matter of whether you're a match for that. Let's see. As a cohort student, are our electives pre-selected in our degree plan, or are we allowed to change our elective courses? As a cohort student, you are stuck with the degree plan as it is, with the exception of what I was talking about earlier related to thesis. So as a cohort student, you'll need to stick with the courses that are listed on your degree plan. You're in a cohort because you have a reserved spot in all of your classes, and we've set it up so that you will be in classes with the other people that are in your cohort from semester to semester. And so that's kind of part of what it means to be in a cohort. Okay, Anna Marie asked, how are we able to contact the people who are in our cohort? As I said, we will be establishing a program called Microsoft Teams. We're currently working on adding you to a team, which will be your cohort, and you'll be able to communicate with the other students in your cohort through that program, which is available to you for free through the university. And so I will be sending information about how to do that within the next couple of weeks. And so be on the lookout for that, and you'll be able to connect with other people in your cohort that way. Your email address is your MAVS email address. That's the one that was assigned to you by the university. It's whatever your name is, and then at mavs.uta.edu. If you're having trouble figuring out how to download your email to your smartphone, you can go to the OIT website, the Office of Information Technology, and there are instructions there, a step-by-step guide to how to get your email onto your phone. Let's see. So I got a question about the Child Advocacy Center. That sounds on the surface like it could be good as a field placement site. Again, you'll have to make sure that they have an MSW social worker that would be willing to supervise you. The social worker must have at least 2 years of experience. But yes, that sounds like it could be a decent opportunity for you. Taylor says, for scholarships, are we able to apply for ones given through UTA in addition to the social work related scholarships? Absolutely. You can go onto UTA's website and see if there are scholarships that you might qualify for that are above and beyond the ones that we offer within social work. Okay. Sarah says, when ordering the books, if I choose to go through Amazon, it is a standalone book. It does not come with Brightwave formats, Engage Unlimited, which some of the books do. Okay, so I think you're talking about different packages that come with the textbook. So in my understanding, the textbooks that you need, you really just need the textbook. You don't typically need the supplemental materials unless they come as a package. So Sarah, I would say go ahead and you can order your book off of Amazon, even though it comes as a standalone book. I don't think that will be a problem. Valerie says, so our foundation and advanced placements have to be 2 different placements. Yes, that is correct. You will be at 2 different places for your foundation placement and your advanced placement. Okay, let's see. Madeline says, is it doable to manage a full-time job and a split field internship, or do most students have to cut back hours at their place of employment? I would say that's really an individual, kind of case-by-case thing. We do have students that work full-time and are able to manage a split placement. It kind of depends on how flexible your job is and how much you're finding, how much time you're needing to study for the courses you're also enrolled in, also what the other kind of demands you have on your time outside of your job are. So I would say that, it's hard to answer that question for someone. I do know that we do have students that work full-time and are able to manage a field placement. Madison says, she's asking about military placements. Yes, we do make exceptions for military, active duty military, as well as military spouses. So Madison, if you do end up having to move outside of Texas due to your military commitment, yes, we will work with you to try and find a placement in your new location. All right, let's see. Are we able to switch to a non-cohort program full-time on campus to expedite our degree timeframe if circumstances allow? If so, how many classes are we allowed to take at a time? And are classes not guaranteed if we leave a cohort? If we go non-cohort, do we have more freedom in choosing classes for our degree? That was a lot of questions in one, Katrina. Okay, so you are in a traditional program, which means that you are if you're full-time, you're in a 24-month degree plan. And that is the fastest that you can complete the program as a traditional student. So you really can't speed that timeline up too much. But if you were to switch out of the cohort, you could take you can take up to 15 hours a semester. So you'll have to look and see what that might look like, if that would speed your timeline up any. You keep in mind that your field courses, are do contribute to those semester credit hours. If you decide not to be in a cohort, you do need to know that your space in your courses is not guaranteed. So all of you right now are in a cohort, which means that we are reserving space for you in the classes that you need. So you never have to worry about, is my class going to fill up and then there won't be space for me and I'm not going to get into it the semester that I need it. Because you're in a cohort, we reserve those spaces for you so you don't have to worry about that piece. One of the drawbacks to being a cohort, as Katrina has alluded to, is the fact that you don't have freedom to choose your courses. So the courses that we've lined out for you, we think are the best fit for your degree plan for children and families and are going to prepare you to enter practice as a children and families focused MSW social worker. You don't have the opportunity in a cohort to be able to take a different elective, for example. You're stuck with the electives that we've prescribed for you. And so that's maybe a drawback for some of you. Maybe that makes it easier and you don't have to really stress out about the courses that you'll be taking because they're already prescribed. Do we get a choice in our field placement, or is it randomly assigned if you're in DFW? So for your foundation placement, you don't get a choice. We try to match you geographically with the area that you need, as well as the hours that you need to do your placement. But in terms of the agency itself, no, you do not. You don't get to choose your placement at the foundation level. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my place here. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, how difficult is it to accommodate military spouses out of state? We are working with students in the military all the time. As I think I mentioned, we're very military veteran friendly, and so we do have a number of students whose spouses are in the military, or they're in the military themselves, and so we're able to work with you to help you find a placement wherever it is that you end up. So would we be able to take an extra elective on top of our degree plan if we wanted to take a specific elective not in our degree plan? No, typically not. The cohort plan is pretty much is stuck. You're stuck with it. So no, you wouldn't be able to take an extra elective with outside of the degree plan if you're a cohort student. Let's see. Just so I'm understanding correctly, there are no face-to-face traditional cohort MSW programs, and the 2-year cohort programs are all online. There is a traditional face-to-face MSW cohort. We've just started that this semester, so we do have a face-to-face cohort that is a 2-year program. So that is a possibility for you if you'd rather join that cohort instead and come to face-to-face courses. Let's see. I am currently in the part-time cohort. My circumstances may change in the next year. Is it possible to switch to full-time next fall? If yes, how would I catch up on classes? No, it's pretty hard to switch from part-time to full-time simply because of the way the courses are, the way they work. It would be easier if you had to switch from full-time to part-time, but it would be pretty difficult to catch up on classes that you had missed. So if you end up needing to drop out of the cohort, then you simply would not be in a cohort, and you would take your classes as they became available. You would be a non-cohort student at that point, which we have many of. So that would then be a possibility for you also. Okay. I feel like I've gotten to all of the questions. If you have a question that you have not had a chance to ask, please reach out to me via email. I'm happy to respond to you individually. Sorry, look, I'm seeing some more questions coming up. So let me do that real quick. How many students do you have currently not part of a cohort, and do they have extreme difficulty in not getting their necessary courses? So we have, I would say so if we have 1,400 students in our MSW program, we have about 800, I would say, that are in cohorts, and about 600 that are not in cohorts. It may be difficult if, for example, you're out of the area. Let's say you're in Houston, and you are limited to only being able to take classes online. It may be difficult to get into a particular class in any given semester if you can only take it online. Now, if you are in the DFW Metroplex and you're flexible and you can take classes both either face-to-face or online, then it's maybe not so difficult to get the classes that you need. But if you, if you can only take online classes because you're not in the area, then it would be difficult to do the program without being a cohort student. Let's see. For those like myself who work in the state in CPS, we cannot take our foundation and secondary field placements with the department. We would have to let you select the foundation field placement. So Deosha, you can do a placement at CPS. You wouldn't be able to do both placements at CPS. And like I said before, you'd have to be in a different department with a different supervisor. So you'd need to choose whether you wanted to do your foundation placement or your advanced placement with CPS. All right. Is it too late to switch to a full-time cohort for this semester? It is absolutely not too late. There is plenty of time to do that. Send an email to your advisor. I'm looking at you, Christine Spinner, so your advisor should be Tiara Thomas. If you will send her an email and say that you want to switch to the full-time cohort, you are welcome to do that. It is definitely not too late. We can get you in the courses you need. Let's see, because this cohort is online only, will group assignments be required, or is that a question that would be for our professors? Yes, each class will have different requirements. I will say that you will at some point, probably multiple times during the program, participate in group projects, and you'll arrange to do that with the group that all of you will meet online, virtually, at a time that is convenient for you, that works for your group members. But yes, we do have a number of group projects that you'll probably participate in through the program at some point. But that's really up to the individual instructor. All right, I am going to go ahead and end our call today. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. I'm glad that you've chosen our program. I'm excited about you embarking on this new journey. I think you're going to have a great time, and I'm excited to get to know you. So be on the lookout for communication from me and from the program. And if you have other questions, reach out to me or your academic advisor, and we'll get you set up. So thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day and a great last week of summer. Bye-bye.